Hi there, I'm Rex King. Welcome back to another episode where I review films currently in theaters. Today I am talking about Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam! Fury of the Gods is the sequel to Shazam. It's directed by David F. Sandberg, and once again stars Zachary Levi as Shazam, a superhero whose secret identity just happens to be a younger boy named Billy Batson, played by Asher Angel. As we saw at the end of the last Shazam movie, Shazam had spread his powers to the other members of his family, and now each and every member of his adopted family has superpowers, with the exception of his adopted parents. So now they are a team trying to protect Philadelphia. However, they're still learning the way of things. They accidentally cause some collateral damage occasionally, but usually they save most people's lives. However, they are about to face their toughest threat yet, as the Daughters of Atlas are out for their heads. So, this film really was not bad, honestly. Let's start with some of the positives, and some of the positives here are that this story is occasionally funny. Like, when it's supposed to be funny, I actually got a decent amount of chuckles out of this film. And it moves really well from action set piece to action set piece, and I really felt like the film was continuing to move in a nice fashion. However, it does seem to forget what makes Shazam such an interesting character and what makes a good story for said character, and that is Billy Batson. Well, what that character usually goes through and how it helps him or informs him as a superhero really is usually the heart of most Shazam stories and makes them very compelling. However, Billy Batson is in 5 scenes of this movie. This 2-hour and 40-minute movie, Billy Batson, the heart and soul of Shazam, is in 5 scenes. At least that's what my memory is. I'm pretty sure it's either 5 or 6, but needless to say, either way, why wasn't Billy Batson in more of the movie? Isn't this supposed to be his story? There is a hint of something good here with, like, Billy Batson having to deal with the fact that he's turning 18, he's aging out of the foster system, and he might need to find his own way in life, but he's reacting in such a way where he's trying to keep all of his family together and not let them do their own thing, and that's an interesting conflict if the film had expanded upon it. Unfortunately, it just doesn't. And it just kind of gets ignored by the end of till the end of the film, and I feel like that's a waste because I do think that could have been an interesting story. The characters are also kind of generic here, especially when we're referring to our villains. Hespera and Calypso, who are the Daughters of Atlas and our villains, and are played by Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu respectively, are not that compelling on paper. They really aren't that interesting. They don't have many interesting character traits, and they don't really feel like they're all that threatening in regards to Billy Batson and the group. And I really just felt like these villains weren't as interesting as they could have been, and aren't like personal villains for our characters to overcome. Like I said earlier, Billy Batson should be the core of this film, and as a character, he's just not in this movie enough. But the performances are actually all good. Hespera, played by Helen Mirren, isn't that interesting, but Helen Mirren brings her natural charm to that role and elevates it to new heights. And Lucy Liu is hamming it up as Calypso, and she just does a good job of what she's given. But the standout performance has to be Jack Dylan Grazer, who plays Freddie Freeman. With the absence of Billy Batson, he becomes the heart and soul of this film, and you really can relate to him, and you really enjoy seeing him find his way through these scenarios that he's put in. I really do enjoy that they were able to focus on another core member of the Marvel family. I still wish they had focused on Billy Batson a tad bit more, but that's an interesting idea altogether. The visuals are fine overall. I mean, they're nothing to, like, be absolutely shocked by. This CGI is fine. Again, I usually prefer practical effects, but hey, we live in a modern age and CGI is going to be used all the time in films like this. And showing off the creature designs, I felt they were fine. There's nothing in here that's overly spectacular, but nothing in here is really all that bad either. The score by Christoph Beck is standard. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just standard. I've heard basically all these tracks before in other movies. And that leads me to my final thoughts on this one, and this film wasn't bad. It wasn't original either, though. A lot of this film is just standard superhero fare that we've come to know and love / hate depending on who you are. And this film is no exception. Everything this film tries to do is standard. And for some, that's going to be off-putting. For me, I felt like the film was fine. I got a few chuckles when they were doing their comedy bits. I really enjoyed the action set pieces when they were going on, and I enjoyed that the film continued to move. I do wish there was more of Billy Batson and the heart of the story being focused more on the family dynamic, but with what we got, it's perfectly fine, and I do think it's worth one watch, but only one watch. There's no reason to see this film multiple times. So at the end of the day, I'm going to give Shazam! Fury of the Gods a 6 out of 10. Again, this film is a good one-time watch, but anything after that is kind of wasteful. Anyway, that's all I thought about Shazam! Fury of the Gods. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.